Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to today's Africa on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We are delighted that you have decided to join us today. And indeed, this is the day the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. We do not
Amen.
apologize for recognizing God's presence in our lives. We don't take life for granted at all. We really believe that life is a gift from God, and how we live our lives becomes an expression of how we are connected to our God. So it doesn't matter what your calling in life is and what your work is. We acknowledge the fact that God has given us life. So I am really serious when I say that this is the day the Lord has made. It's not a church service, but we acknowledge that. So we're just delighted that you
Amen.
have joined us. So this is your host, Dr. FM. This is your host, Dr. FM, Francis Munangi Mpindu, live on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. And we are in for some technical difficulties here. Hopefully we will get that all sorted out. It's probably not as stable, but these are we are hoping and praying that we will be able to have a great conversation today, and log in, share, this channel with we are on YouTube. Today we have a special guest. Like I said, we do have a special guest, Ambassador Dr. Prevail Farida Ahmed. She is joining us all the way from Nigeria. That's a long ways from here. Technology. We are able to connect different countries of her leader with an incredible passion for humanity. She is a humanitarian. She's a peace ambassador. She's a youth ambassador. She is an entrepreneur. She's an event planner. She's a teenager counselor. She is a politician. Like we are really having technical difficulties here, and I really hope that all have this conversation today. It's showing that my Wi-Fi is
But the network is
strong and solid. So I don't know what's happening here, but It's saying I'm in the show now. So does that mean I didn't log in? Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your host, Dr. FM. We are here at Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. This is your host for today's Africa. And it sounds like we are having a technical glitch here with our internet. It looks more from my side than it is from the other side, but I just hope that it's now solid. And thanks to our engineer, Mr. TYB. It's good to have you on the team, sir. Thank you for making sure that things are running well and interconnected. So again, we are live in over 100 different countries. And every Saturday at 11 Eastern Standard Time, we meet up in this program, Today's Africa, where we bring in guests from around the world to talk about things that are happening in Africa, around the world, so that we can educate, we can inform, we can have conversations to support, help, bring awareness to each other in terms of what is happening around us. So we're really, really delighted. Indeed, this is the day the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. And like I said, we don't apologize for that perspective on life, because we really believe that life is a gift from God, and how we live our lives becomes an expression of our gratitude to God. So I'm just really, really delighted. If you haven't already logged in and subscribed so that you can share this platform with other people in your networks, please go ahead and do that. We are live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Instagram, so please feel free to share this channel with others as well. So today we're very, very delighted to have a special guest with us, all the way from Nigeria, Ambassador Dr. Prevail Farida Ahmed, who is joining us all the way from Nigeria. And this is also the joys of technology. We are able to bring the world from wherever it is into the studio, and here we are. So again, we're just so delighted you have joined us today. So she is a multifaceted leader, someone who is passionate about humanity. She is a humanitarian. She is a peace ambassador, a youth ambassador, entrepreneur, event planner, teenage counselor. She is a politician. She is into women empowerment. And obviously, she is a public speaker. And so you can tell, because we are having a conversation with her today. And so we're really, really just delighted to have you with us. I know this is action. Oh, okay, I see that our internet is acting up again here. Oh, hopefully we will be able. Please tell us a little more about yourself, Dr. Ahmed. Tell us a little more about yourself. I know I just did some summary captions here, but who is this lady with us in the studio today?
All right, like the class said earlier, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from all over the world. My name is Ambassador Dr. Prevail Farida Ahmed. I am an African woman of what? I am a Nigerian, and he has said so much about who I am and what I do. And I am a woman of great worth, an African woman of great worth. I think I want to start with that. I think I want to do that, and I want to stay there.
That is wonderful to hear. Thank you for saying that. I think in this introduction, you are highlighting things of tremendous value, a woman of worth. And what better way to dig into that as we are talking about the African woman, her role in society, with all the various responsibilities that you have. I can't wait to hear some of the things that you're doing and things that God is enabling you to carry out in society and around the world with regards to fulfilling your purposes on this side of eternity. So when we talk about the African woman, her role in society, what are some of the things that jump out for you in terms of this subject matter before us today?
All right, Doctor, I want to believe that's a question, but I want to start with talking about who a woman is. In order for me to define myself as an African woman and to understand my role in the society or in society, I actually need to understand who I am as a woman. So for me, who is a woman? And I come to realize after seeing this topic that it's a very simple question, but it's with a very complex answer. It seems very simple to ask who is a woman, but the moment you need to think about who a woman is, the reality of how complex that question is will be done on you. And going to your question, who is a woman? I wrote some few things down here. I was asking myself a question: who are you? I wouldn't want to use myself as a case study from beginning, but I will use myself as a case study as we proceed in the program. Who is a woman? It's as simple as you and I know. An adult, a human adult that is a female, is a woman. So I want to believe I answered that question correctly.
All right. You know, I like the way you put it. You said it's very simple. We know a woman, but then you're also saying this is a loaded phrase or a loaded question, because you know we are saying who is a woman, and this African woman, what is her role in society? And I like the fact that you're talking about an adult woman. So you're making a distinction that young girls are not women. Is that what I'm picking up from you?
Yes.
They are female. We understand that, but it's not a woman.
They are still babies. They are not a woman.
They're babies. They're children. So, yes. Ambassador Dr. Ahmed, would you then say at what point does this girl, this child, become a woman? And I'm not thinking in terms of the biological changes here, but I'm just thinking in terms of at what point does this transition become a reality? I mean, obviously there are the biological, connections and all that, but walk us just briefly in terms of that transition from this to that.
I like that question very well, because it's something a whole lot of people think in the other way. or when you say who is a woman, when does a woman become a woman, and all, they think, oh, it's about the biological, it's about the age or the growth, but it's far from that. A girl transitions to becoming a woman the moment she understands the true essence of her existence. So I call it the true essence of every woman. So the moment a young girl come to the reality or come to discover her true essence, she has become a woman. That is when fulfilling purpose, that is when understanding purpose first, that is when understanding purpose and fulfilling purpose comes to play. So the transition from being a child, a female child, to being a woman is not all about age. In some cases, in the major, when you need to look at it critically, it's about understanding our true essence as a female, understanding and discovering our purpose, and making a decision to becoming everything that God wants her to be here on earth. Hello, doctor. Okay, while we are with doctor to join us back, we're talking about the African woman, our role in society. And I asked myself a question: who is an African woman? An African woman is not a simple identity, but a multifaceted symbol of strength, resilience, beauty, and diversity. So there is so much in being an African woman. There is so much in becoming an African woman. There are some of us that are African women already, and there are some of our young ones that are becoming African women, and there is a lot in it. So an African woman, again, an African woman is not a simple identity, but a multifaceted symbol of strength, resilience, beauty, and also diversity, which shape her. And she's shaped by our environment, our community, and our personal experience. We're still waiting and holding on to doctor to join us. Like he said earlier, I think we're having some technical issues from that end, but nothing to worry about. We are here, and we will achieve this because it's important to achieve it. And like he has said, it is the day that the Lord has made. We'll rejoice and we'll be glad in it. So this program will hold, and God will be glorified at the end of it, regardless of what the network has decided to do. So as an African woman, it is important for us to know our true essence. It is said that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. As an African woman, you need to know yourself. You need to realize, have you asked yourself this question? Why am I here? Why am I here? What is God's plans for my life? Like he said earlier, we'll go back to that. We are unapologetic, talking about God in the reality of life. We have to talk about God. We have to talk about his personality, his input in our life. We can't be anything. We can't do anything without God. I, as a person, cannot. I can't even say anything here without mentioning God. But an African woman is a woman who needs to sit up and understand everything that God has put on the inside of her. An African woman is a leader. She's a born leader. She's born with beauty. She's born with authority. She's born with power. And she's given the ability to raise and nurture leaders. Are you an African woman? if the question is being asked, can you answer that you are an African woman? I am trying to keep us occupied while we await Doctor to join us. We're still talking about an African woman. Who is an African woman? I'm asked to go ahead. Who is an African woman? You are being shaped by your environment, your community. You are being shaped by your personal experience. And like I said earlier, I quoted something: when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. When you do not know your purpose of being on earth as a woman, it will be difficult for you to fulfill purpose. It will be difficult for you to realize and discover who you are. So in the society today, there is so much. If you look around the world, you will see the impact of a woman. Whatever the world has turned out to be today, whatever we see in the society today, however good or bad the society has turned to become, it is actually a product of a woman aside that of God. It is your decision and my decision as a woman that transform into this entire thing we see in the world. We are having Dr. back, and to God be the glory for that. This network will be stable, and this program will be held, and life will be transformed, and God will be glorified at the end of the day. Have you discovered your purpose as a woman?
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Have you realized who you are? Have you taken your time to look into what it means to be a woman? Or you're just being a woman because they say you are beautiful, or because you are with the futures that define us as a woman? I said something, I say it all the time. I'm not saying it just on this show. It's something I say every that I encounter or that encounters me. As a woman, you are not an afterthought in God's plans for creation. You are part of his plan from beginning. He said he made them male and female. He made them. Even before you were brought out, the woman was brought out from the side of a man. I'm not here to preach, please allow me. I'm just bringing out the truth about your genealogy and my genealogy as a woman, an African woman. We are born with power, with authority. I spoke on the International Women's Day that women are born leaders. We raise, we born, we raise, and we nurture leaders. It is our duty, whatever our men become, aside being a role model in the society for women, I'm an advocate for men's mental health. Whatever the men around me looks like, however they present themselves, whatever you see in the men around me, it's actually from the input. It's actually from me. Whatever my sons turn out to become, then you look back into the life of the woman who raised them. Whatever the husband turned to become, check into the life of that woman as well. Your duty as a woman, it goes beyond bringing forth children, cooking. I don't want to say being the keeper, because the duty of keeping a home is not just the duty of a woman. It takes the man being the priest, being the provider and the protector, and the woman coming together in agreement to keep a home, which means that whatever a woman puts, whatever effort she puts in her home, will translate into what becomes of her children in the society, it transforms into what becomes of her husband in the society. It transforms into input our family will be making in the society at large. It is your home that transforms into a community. It is your community that would, in one way or the other, transform into a nation. What input am I putting? What dispute are you putting as a woman? Have you discovered your role? Have you discovered your purpose? There's something I say to women. There's a topic I always work on. The woman, our God, our purpose, and our relationship. You first discover who you are. There's for you as a woman, an African woman, to be precise, to discover who God is, know Him and understand. And then you will understand your purpose. And then you will be able to relate with people around you. Without that, it is difficult to understand your role in the society. Whatever becomes of our nations in Africa, I take it back to every woman, to every African woman. What have you done? What have I done? Look at the lives of our men. Oh, it's so unfortunate to see that this generation is raising. I was listening, maybe Dr. Taker, maybe you when we were on phone some minutes ago, you would see me playing the music on the background. Brown Skin Girl. If you look at the lyrics and then the chorus of that song, there's a place she mentioned, remember what Mama told you. What has Mama told you about you? What has Mama told you about the world? What has Mama told you about your becoming? What has Mama told you about your attainment? What has Mama told you about your achievement in life? To be intimidated, to be sidelined, to be pushed in the corner, or to fulfill purpose? Or you want to be equal with the man? Or you're a man, I'm a woman, you are no more than me, I'm no more than you. Understanding your role as a woman or as an African woman help you understand your journey. Like I said earlier, I'm an advocate for men's mental health. And something led to that. I didn't just become an advocate for men's mental health. I discovered my purpose. I discovered the will of God for my life. I knew what God wants me to do. And I'm changing the world around me by the grace of God. You are born leader. You are born with a purpose. There is so much about you that the world needs to know. Have you checked all over the world? I have not seen where you would go and not find an African. That is pointing to your direction as a woman, as an African woman, that there is so much for you to do in the society. So your role and my role as an African woman, first, is to build. So what are we building? Who are we building? If God had to come in human form and be the judge and ask questions from you and I, what would be your answer if he asked you? We have a lot of women, African women, who have not discovered their purpose yet, who are still very intimidated, who are still commissioner in the kitchen. They are still presidents in giving birth. And the mindset you carry shows that, oh, your duty is to bring forth children. Your duty is not just to bring forth children, but to bring forth children that would stand out and become everything that God wants them to be. We start the shaping. Everything we become in the society starts from home. Male and female, our children. The generation we are raising, the world at large, is formed by God, and it is given to a woman to nurture and to raise. So your duty and my duty as women, as an African woman, is so deep. And that was why in my definition of an African woman, I said an African woman is not a single identity, but a multifaceted one. Is a symbol of strength, resilience, beauty, and diversity. And she's shaped by our environment. She's shaped by our community, and she's shaped by our personal experiences. What has become of you, or what have you brought from the experience you've had? Are you part of those who had allowed their background to put their back on the ground? Or you are among the women who are standing out to say, I will not let my background put my back on the ground? They said behind every successful man is a woman. I do not agree with that. I cannot do anything if I'm behind a man. Being behind is useless. Beside every successful woman is a woman who is able to see what he cannot see, who is able to do what he cannot do, he is able to carry him up. We have raised men. I will give chance to doctor to talk very soon, but I need us to know that we have raised men that are very intimidated. I am not sorry to say that 60% of our men, African men, are insecure. Are very insecure, very intimidated, easily intimidated. Some of them are so brilliant, so intelligent, so blessed, wealthy, but they are intimidated and they are insecure. And you are the reason for that, because they are all your product and my product. Thank you, doctor. You can come in now.
This is Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. And if you have just joined us, I know that we were having some technical difficulties, but I really trust and hope that the Lord is going to ensure that we continue our discussion today, because the topic we're talking about, the topic before us is very, very profound. And Ambassador Dr. Prevail, Farida Ahmed, you are touching on live wires, really live wires. You talked about a woman and saying she's not a single identity. She is within a community. She's shaped by the community, and she in turn shapes the community. And just that type of an explanation of who a woman is, in addition to all her personal experiences. You are saying that it's a loaded responsibility, and I agree with you. I mean, even though I don't have the statistics with me here, it is quite clear that the things you're talking about, that we have a lot of men who are insecure and intimidated by so many things. So something is happening to interrupt this understanding that should be there. And I think you are right in pointing us to a relationship with God and saying that's where it starts. Our women need to understand that who they are has to be linked up to their, to their creator.
Yeah.
Not just the community, not just your personal experiences, but to God. Now, Dr. Ahmed, it is my understanding that in most of our churches, a large percentage of people, of congregants in our churches are women. So where are we going wrong? If most of our churches have a lot of women in them, and yet this insecurity and intimidation is continuing, what is happening?
This question is actually very, very profound. I woke up with, I was musing. And please, with all due respect to all our Muslim brothers and sisters, and those who are non-Muslim, those who are not Christians, to everybody. Like I said earlier, I'm not here to preach, but out of the abundance of my heart, my mouth will speak.
Mm-hmm.
So, by my fruit, you will know me. So when I speak from the in-depth of what God has instilled on the inside of me. This morning I was musing, and one thing I got from God is, and I put it up for people to see. I share things like that on social media. You can be very, very drowned in the world. It could be you are studying the Quran, it could be the Bible, it could be whatever book you believe, it could be other books that motivate or inspire you. You can be very deep in them. You can be buried in them and still be barren in your soul. It's okay to know, like I put there. It's okay to study. It's good to study. It's better to know, but it's best to understand. We go to, now I'm going back to churches, going to churches. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. I can talk about you only based on what I know about you. I can know you and not understand you. Knowing you is good, but if I understand you, it's best. How do I understand you? I need to understand me. I was talking last week about peace. Peace within. Having peace with yourself will help you have peace with others. We are out of, the time has come for us we need to move our pulpit from hearing to knowing and understanding. We have a lot of women. Let's even say 70% of the church comprises of women. Maybe oftentimes you see a lot of, anywhere you go, you see a lot of women. Yet it seems like the ship is sinking. And we pray and we fast. Some of us speak in tongues. But we are not doing it with understanding. And like I said earlier, I quoted someone, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. You'll be the first to abuse yourself before any other person abuse you. So we can pray from now to eternity and there won't be any change if we do not understand. Even the Bible talks about not praying amiss. You can pray and pray amiss. We say this. There are a lot of people. You see bitterness in people. I can say it with all praise and glory to God. I'm not intimidated by a man. I'm not intimidated by a fellow woman. I love everybody. I am comfortable regardless of what you have, regardless of your level. I am okay with who I am. I've come to a point in my life where I am content. I want to be more. I can see something good about you and covet that. But you know what? I understand who I am. I understand my assignment very well. And I'm proud to say that I am proud to see the result of men around me. By the grace of God. So we need to get up, because you mentioned church and I would want to stick to that. Women in the church, we are praying. It's good to pray. But let us get up. Let's face reality. We are using prayers. We are using being in church to cover habits that are miling us. That are habits that either it makes you or it mar you. Let's build healthy habits. We use prayers and everything to cover up. Meanwhile, there are a lot of things to be worked on. You can kneel down and greet a pastor, man of God, pastor, daddy. I wish you give that same regard to your husband. I wish you give that same respect to your husband. The same woman they know in church. Kind, loving, attending to this, attending to that, prayerful. I wish you are that woman at home. I wish you are that woman in the society. Not just in church. So there is so much for us to do. Let me pause here, Doctor.
You know, I'm just listening to you and I'm fascinated by some of the concepts you're bringing to our attention. And rightly so, because you are a practitioner. You're not talking from a textbook. You're talking from a lived experience, things you have observed. And by the way, we do have some very, very encouraging comments that are coming out here. We have Michael. We have someone who is part of Nost Designs. They are in the UK and they are connected. And we have Michael Oshilaja, who says, I'm happy to join. And we have Maria Adiakundle, Adekunle.
Yes.
I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And please,
Yes.
yeah, Adekunle, yeah, please pardon me if I don't. And you
It's
say
okay. It's okay.
women love prayers. You know, they pray for their families. They this is part of why we see many of these women in church. And she makes a comment, and she said, men don't seem to have time. Only few men. Most men do not make time to pray, and I guess to be in church. And she makes a wonderful, powerful comment. And she says, remember that it was a woman that first saw Jesus after the resurrection. And so there's so many. And then, of course, we have Emmanuel. Emmanuel, yeah, Emmanuel. I have a hard time pronouncing that last name, so I won't attempt.
Yeah.
But
So
it's good to see
let's
that
take
we
the
do have,
Emmanuel.
yeah, it's good to see that we do have a number of people who are following up, you know, and following us today, because this is a very, very powerful topic. And I really liked your focus on a woman has to see herself as being multifaceted. So this whole idea of reducing women to the kitchen and bearing children has really impacted us negatively. So at what point, traditionally, Dr. Ahmed, traditionally, we've always had women, my understanding as an African, we've always had women who really took charge of the family, of the community. Yes, the men would provide, but they understood their responsibility within this multifaceted approach which you're referring to. So at what point did we move away from that? What happened that we now have these aspects that seem to be mitigating against an understanding of the woman's role in society and in her family?
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. You said something the other time. You were reading someone's comment that men don't have time to pray. The men who do not have time to pray, please, I want to start with that. The men who do not have time to pray were raised by a woman who helped them realize that their business is to go and work and look for money, not to pray. Who did not help him, or who did help them to realize that they are the priest, they are the provider, and also the protector. Now, going back to the question Doctor just asked me. Holy Spirit, help me. I might need a refresh of that.
Yeah.
At what point did we get to this state that we are at, that things are
a woman has
changed?
been moved away. Yeah, a woman has been moved away.
From.
What happened?
I want to celebrate our grandparents, our great grandparents who stood their ground. I want to celebrate all the women shaking the world and transforming the world for the better. Even though among them we still have some that are intimidated, that truly have not, the part of self-esteem is a very good thing. There are lots of women suffering from low self-esteem, lack of belief in self, lack of belief in what they carry. They do not even know what they carry on the inside of them. Let me tell us a short story. So I was raised by a mother who is very fierce and who believed in insulting some part of the people from this part of the country will understand what I'm saying, who believe in scolding, not just scolding. They beat you do something wrong, before you say one, they're giving you like this and giving it back to you. And you know, subconsciously, it's dawned on me that is how it ought to be, to correct. Oh, my first child. What a wealthy young woman. Because I don't like to use the word, they say poor thing. She's not poor, she's so wealthy.
That's right.
Oh, she went through it. I started with her. Honey, little thing, you're not supposed to do that. This is not the right thing. And I feel in my spirit it's not right. I feel I wasn't supposed to do that. Please, let's take note of mentorship. It's very important. Mentorship. One of the reasons why we are going through what we're going through as women and the generation is becoming what is becoming is because, one, lack of knowledge of who you are and not seeking help. People who had gone ahead of you and had gotten it better and they have done it better. Mentorship. And there was no one to mentor me, doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I can go on my knees and say, thank you, Lord. You see, everything you see here is my mentor. Before I started having mentors, the word of God. I believe God could groom me. I believe God can help me get better. And I kept on screaming and praying to help me to become a better mother than my mother was. She is a loving woman. But she raised me the way she was raised. She raised every one of us screaming, shouting. They believe in calling the entire family to come and interfere in the situation where you can talk to your child. And that child become very timid. Very fearful. I think we're back now. And God helped me. I moved from being this woman who scream, who shout, who believe in beating, who believe in scolding. When something is wrong, I don't believe in beating or in shouting or making my child feel less. You are, after all, a princess. Yes, this can go wrong. Maybe this is not working the way we want it, but I believe in you. And that helped me by the grace of God. We need to move from some of our women are suffering from the trauma of how they were raised. I was a product of that too. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I just mentioned how I treated my child. I was blessed with children and how I treated my child because of how I was treated. We need to we need to be intentional about becoming a better us if we want to raise a better generation. So the reason why we find out.
I was just going to say thank you so much for mentioning that,
Yes.
because I think even traditionally as Africans, we had ways of doing things that were structured based on what we knew. And obviously, the world some of us who are a little older now grew up in is still the same world, but different challenges and different approaches to doing life now. So there are two things that stood out for me from your most recent comments here and what I've observed. You mentioned how you did your best to raise your child within what you had grown up with. And I looked at that and I saying, you know what, that is a powerful virtue that you're displaying, Dr. Prevail, Ahmed, because you're being transparent. You're realizing that, hey, I've made mistakes, but it's never too late to correct them and turn around. And then the other thing that I noticed, which you mentioned as well, is a need for mentorship. So many of our communities, things have happened that seem to be disrupting this sense of mentorship and working together. But I think it's a new day. I know that you are into women empowerment, and I think you realize that when you call women to come together, they do come. And usually there are high levels of transparency there's a high level of openness and wanting to learn. So what are some of the methods that you use when you go into communities to make sure that these levels of transparency and the willingness to learn and mentorship and all that, they really are being used to impact the women?
Okay, so I heard the ending part. What are some
Mhm.
of the, I need to hear that clearly.
Yeah.
What are
So
some of the,
what are some of the approaches that you are using
okay,
to make sure that these levels of high transparency and the willingness to learn are really happening? And what do you see happening to change these old ways of, I'm stuck in my way and this is all I know and I'm just going to do what I learned and I'll pass it on? What are we doing? Like what's going on for you to change that? What methods are you using to bring about these new changes in our communities as you work with women?
thank you very much, Doctor. One of the method is for if you check on my social media and some of my things, I put there, everybody knows me. I trust God for a living. That's my alias. They call me that. I trust God for a living. But one of my major ways of trying to get involved with women and helping other women is making women comfortable around me.
Mm.
I am such a light. I am a light. And when I get in the midst of other women, I know how intimidation and low self-esteem is eating deep into the bones and the marrows of a lot of women, African women to be precise. Not just African women, but we are talking about African women. So when I get involved,
Mm.
I make myself number one, sure I am very accessible. I make sure I am very relatable. I am very open. I make sure to help. Immediately, the first thing I do is to make sure I bring down what's this called? The pressure of thinking I am here to intimidate in the mind of every woman. You know, they said, oh, we dress to kill, we dress to this, we dress. So I make sure that everything from my outward look and the way I talk and my mannerism and everything is one that is welcoming. Even when I notice some sign of not feeling intimidated around me, I try to help you tune it down. I try to make you understand, no, don't worry. It's okay. It's fine. We are good. So first thing I do is when I get into the midst of women, oh, if you are looking at my scarf, for example, I could just walk up to you when I notice what you're looking at and I will help you adjust yours. So seeing a woman in my level trying to help you adjust you, first bring you down. I've met with women. By the time we want to talk, they are intimidated. The tempo and the eye rise of how they want to talk is so high on the high. And I am this, okay, ma'am, it's okay. Okay, no problem. It's your space, it's your rule. I have to abide by your rules. And from the way I respond, it brings them down, and we are able to sit down, we are able to talk. Some women are open enough to ask, how are you like this? Then the conversation
Mm.
starts. How are you able to cope? The conversation start. I'm glad Madam Maria Adekunle, Chief Mrs. Maria Adekunle joined us. She's one of the
Mm.
women around me. I'm glad Michael Oshinlaja joined us. He's one of the men around me. And I am grateful to God. I've seen Julie Rio, put some write-ups here, and I'm really grateful. And it's a pleasure meeting you, Julie. Thank you very much for your compliment. I'm grateful. But the idea for me is I don't need to be better than you are. We all need to be better to raise a better or the best generation to come. I don't need to be the flashy one. We all can be flashy. We all can be the
Mm.
girls in the room. We can, or I don't need to be better than you are. I am okay with who I am. You can be yourself as well, discovering who you are, knowing who you are, embracing who you are, celebrating who you are, appreciating who you are, and loving who you are. These are
Mm.
my approaches and more.
Yeah, this is really powerful, and I think that there was a comment that Michael made with regards to being in church and being something different than or from what you would be at home, and you had made reference to that, and I think um, there's a way in which you are saying when we are vulnerable we learn the right things and we do the right things, not because we're trying to impress people out there,
No, no.
but you are forming your own character. Now, I also appreciated your comment about wanting women to be comfortable around you. And you talked about being accessible and being relatable. These are very, very important um, qualities of life. And I think even historically, women who were respected in our communities, they were the kind of women that other women and other people in community would have access to. It wasn't impossible to connect with them, but they were within reach. You could have conversations with them, and so that indeed is a very, very important quality. Now, when you mentioned something about men and their mental health, you had said to me at some point while we were preparing for this program today that you see that some of the men who end up having these mental and emotional challenges, it's not just happening from nowhere. It is happening because some things are not happening within their homes.
Yep.
And so I really like that part, because oftentimes we look at our wellness as separate from everything else, because that's part of the Western culture. They individualize. You look at it's just you. They come and they talk to you and they focus on you. You need to be right. You need to be this. Which is true, by the way. But we have to understand that this is happening within a family. This is happening within a community. So we relate to other people. Don't just focus on this one person as if they are an island, a unit, in space and not related to anyone. So, what are some of the challenges you find with the women you work with when it comes to changes, people embracing new ways of doing things? What are some of the things that you find that are making it difficult for you in a way, with regards to new ways of doing things?
Sincerely speaking,
Mm.
there are lots of challenges. But truthfully speaking, I love the woman God has made me become.
Mm.
I'm not sorry. I am not sorry to say that. I am nothing without God. You see that man upstairs? It's everything. It's made everything beautiful. One of the
Mm.
challenges I see in number one, wanting to be taken for granted. So, in trying to be relatable, accessible, being open, and being ready for women. I tried
Right.
to preach. I tried to be principled. I create that space, but I put a limit to everything. Because one of the things I notice is instead of them learning, majority of them tend to be intimidated, tend to be too familiar. And I have talked about familiarity before. Familiarity is the demon that will stop you from becoming, achieving, and attaining great height. Because when you get familiar with people who would help you become what God wants you to be in life, you will see some part of them. You feel they're after, they are my people. You feel this too close, too accessible. You can access them, and you get carried away with that familiarity that you won't become everything you're supposed to become around them. And when they see that too much of familiarity, they won't drag you. Some of them won't say a word, but they will move on without you knowing they have moved on, leaving you behind.
Yeah.
So I noticed familiarity, wanting to be familiar. A lot of women around me, I noticed that if somebody who knew me, you act like you know me, and where you ought to listen and be a part of what I am doing, you tend to work with familiarity and not bother. She's our person. We can get it anytime. But actually, there are things that are meant for a particular time. Another thing is disbelief. I've had women who truly find it difficult to believe I am who I am. I am who I am
Sure.
in the sense that they they don't. It's difficult. It's tough for them to realize that there can be someone like this. Like, could there be someone like this in the world? Can someone be this good? Can someone be this nice? Can someone be this wise? And the good, the wise, the nice, the beauty, the everything you see is not me. Is actually God in me. It's not me. I can't do any of that. It is actually the grace of God upon my life. So the first one is having to be taken for granted, noticing that um too much of familiarity, an act of disbelief in so many women. And the fourth one, which is very, very critical, is some of them are very comfortable with their state of mind. You know, I've seen people who say, in our family, I'm using a typical Nigerian way. It could happen in other places as well, in other African countries. They say, oh no, in our country, in our family, we are known to be easily triggered to anger. We get angry easily. It's something that it's hereditary. It's a family thing. That is a family thing does not mean that should continue with you. You can change the narrative. So we find it difficult. So I'm talking about the challenges like you asked now. That's the fourth thing I see. So sometimes I want to give up. Sometimes I feel, oh no, I can't deal with this. But knowing my purpose, I get back to that place of knowing my purpose. So I take a deep breath. I sit back. I watch. I listen. And while I'm listening, I'm actually praying to God for divine direction on how to deal with that. And God has helped us so far. We still have some of the women like that. We have some of them who believe I'm like this. Nobody can change me. Who are you to come and change me? You're a woman, I'm a woman. What you know, I know. Is it because I don't come out like I'm speaking like a typical Nigerian now? Is it because we don't come out to do what we know how to do too? They are comfortable with who they are. They knew it. They are very aware of what is happening, that they need help. But they are comfortable. They needed help, but they are comfortable with. You see women coming to you for advice. Meanwhile, they have a preconceived idea of what they want to hear from you. They have an idea of what they want you to say to them. So African women, there is so much for us to do. We have African women who are at the top, who are leading. It's good to be a leader. And I'm not sorry to say this. But being a leader in a space where you have majority of men, your work as a leader is not only on what you are called to do. It starts with the people around you, making them comfortable around you. If they are comfortable, they will support you. They will help you grow. How do you make them comfortable? You need to know who you are. You need to be comfortable with who you are. You are not there to drag with them. You are there to actually help them get better in order for you to succeed in your own endeavor.
These are powerful nuggets you're sharing with us today. And I mean, just the whole idea of, you know what, we become very comfortable with where we are, but you are going beyond just being comfortable within the space. You're saying there is another space which is in your mind, within yourself, and you're saying we need to question that. We need to probe into that and try to find out, because if you think this is who you are because you are known to be this, and you're saying no, you are not known to be that. You're supposed to be focusing on fulfilling your purposes, and whatever that purpose is that God has called you to do and to be, it goes beyond what you are known to be as a family, or what you're known to be in your, in your line of life. So it's very, very encouraging to see that you are like be very careful with familiarity, as Michael says. Wanting to expand beyond yourself, and I'm saying to myself, Dr. Prevail, Farida, Ahmed, because the kinds of things we're talking about here, there is so much more to talk about. And I'm looking at our time. I know that we actually take time to bring you back. I liked what Koledafe Yemisi says, you are very detailed, analysis is clear, and you
Okay. Doctor is trying to round up the program, and we thank God for helping us this far. The network really tried to obstruct, but God has been faithful.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Doctor is getting back. Thank you for coming back, Doctor.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think this is the first time we are having these kinds of technical difficulties, but you know what? I'm glad that we have prevailed and we have continued to have these conversations.
That
because
is it. We prevailed.
It is important. It is important. So we will definitely have you back, and that is not a threat; it's a promise. We want to have you come back, and we continue, because the things you talked about, I mean, they are loaded. They are loaded. I mean, this whole thing about purpose is really important. And if I remember correctly from some of the things you're talking about, you just kept coming back to this purpose and say, there is a purpose and we have to go through life. Our women in Africa, they have to understand that you have a purpose, and the way you live your life becomes an answer to that purpose. You can't just go through life you know, hopelessly, you know, you have to understand that God called you to achieve certain things in life, and you cannot mess that up. And that assignment was given to you and to you, and you cannot be comparing yourself to other people because they have their own purposes, and you have your own purpose that God has called you to. So, again, I know that we had quite a number of interruptions, but you know what? We don't need to continue to apologize for that. I'm so glad that here at Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, we are delighted to have had the privilege and opportunity to have Ambassador Prevail Farida, Ahmed in the studio with us today, and bringing lots of great nuggets in terms of understanding the African woman and her role in society. And you're saying that, listen, whatever is happening beyond you just raising children, you are building a community, and you're building a nation, and you're building the global village. And so our women have powerful roles. And I like the fact that you said it's multifaceted. You can't just look at yourself and just say it's this one thing. No, you wear so many hats. And I'm looking at some of the things you're doing now. You are actually sharing from your heart by displaying who you are in society, because from all these roles and responsibilities, you're saying this is what the African woman is. You can't put them in this pigeonhole and expect them to just function within this little circle. No, there's so many other things outside of that you should be a part of. Now, I'm just wondering in a minute or two, Ambassador Prevail Farida, Ahmed, what are some of the things you would like to say? Okay, I talked about so many things, but as we wind up and close our podcast today, I want you to remember this. So what would be parting comments for you to leave with our viewers and our listeners today? So we have both male and female. But focus on the African woman, on the African woman.
Okay. Dear African women, from whatever part of the world that you're watching, I want you to know that regardless of your color, your tribe, your tongue, your background, your everything, regardless of what your experience about life has been, regardless of things that happen to you, you are beautiful. You are bold. You are brilliant. There is a king in you. You are born to rule. You are born to lead, because you are born to raise and nurture leaders. And it takes a leader who understands how to lead to raise other leaders. Believe in yourself. Celebrate yourself. Appreciate yourself. Love yourself. Embrace yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Don't believe in what someone says about you. As much as it can be important to listen to what people say about us, they will say what you have said about you to you. Embrace God and love God. For me, I trust God for a living. And I want you to know that you are an African woman of worth. God bless you.
Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing this. You know, you just touched on something. I was having a conversation with my significant other, and we're talking about, I think there's reality in this, and you just confirmed it. In every man, there is something, there's some modicum, some expressions of femininity in there. And you are saying in women, listen, there is a king in there.
Yes, there is a king in you.
And you know, oftentimes we don't think along those lines. I think this is why we have missed the mark in putting people in this particular, no, leave that, that's for, but
Yeah.
in doing that, we're doing ourselves a disservice. And you know what? Ambassador Prevail, Farid Ahmed, you have given us a lot of food for thought today, and we're just so grateful that we have had this opportunity to have this conversation with you. And I
Thank you.
can assure you, we will definitely have you back. And to our listeners, thank you very much for being with us today on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio on Today's Africa. And as you know, we are live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and broadcasting in over 100 different countries. Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio is the #1 African and Caribbean music, and you don't want to miss even the one opportunity coming up at 1 p.m., which is the Caribbean flavor with Mr. Marcus and Miss Gentle Blue. You don't want to miss that. And again, thank you, Dr. Prevail Farida Ahmed, for being with us today. You are an African woman who has displayed through words and through your own life what an African woman is and should be aspiring to be. And I think even the comments that we are receiving, it just shows that you do have an impact, and we wish you all the best, and we look forward to having you back again in the studio. And again, to our viewers and our listeners, thank you for joining us on Today's Africa on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. This is your host, Dr. FM Francis Munangi Mpindu, signing off. God bless you. Keep on keeping on doing the right things, and let's continue to be a voice of hope and encouragement to our women as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thanks for having me.